What does a boiling pot of water, touching that pot's hot handle, and standing in the sun all have in common? Want to know the answer? It's Building Science Basics heat flow. Let's get into it. Okay, no, it's not the start of a bad joke. In fact, these are all representations of heat flow, or the transfer of kinetic energy from one material to another material. Now here's the key. They each represent a different kind of heat flow. A boiling pot of water on a pot in a stove shows us a type of heat flow we get from the movement of hot and cold fluids. The fluid in this case is water, and it comes in contact with a hot material at the bottom of the hot pan. And the hot, quickly moving metal molecules bump into the cold water molecules, giving them some of this kinetic energy that they have, causing a transfer of heat into the colder fluid. You can see this process in the graphic here. This transfer of heat from the hot pan to the cold water results in that cold water getting warmer and less dense. As it becomes less dense than the water around it, it rises, and the cold water that's around it now goes down to the bottom of the pan. That cold water then absorbs heat from the bottom of the pan, and it starts to rise. And what you get is this circular current from the hot pan bottom to the top of the water column. Now that water at the top of the pan is warmer than the air above it, so it starts transferring heat from the water to the air. That causes that air to become less dense, and it rises as cold air replaces it. So now we have two circular patterns of heat transfer, all starting from the warm pan bottom. That transfer of heat through the movement of a fluid, whether that fluid is a gas or a liquid, is called convection. Now, what happens if we touch the handle of that pan? That handle is solid and our hand is solid. And we know that we're going to absorb some heat from that pan as it goes from the hot pan into our colder hand. That transfer of heat from hot area to cold area through solids is called conduction. The last method of energy transfer is called infrared radiation, or radiation. Radiation is the transfer of energy not through solids and not through fluids, but through the air itself, even through a vacuum. And it is caused by infrared radiation, which goes from an area of high heat to an area of low heat. Now, admittedly, this is a weak example of radiation. While black matte surfaces are good emitters of infrared radiation, they don't produce a lot of it. But you can actually see a really good producer of infrared radiation by going outside. If you were to take your pot outside and throw it on the grass and stand in the sun, you would feel the radiation from the sun. That type of heat transfer is called radiation. And it requires no movement of matter and no connection between solids. And it is around us every day. Unless you live in Seattle, where it is cloudy and cold most of the time. If you do live in Seattle, and then you visited California, you would see the sun and feel its warmth. And yes, it is sunny every day down here. If you're interested in knowing more about building science or following our projects or watching me make fun of my friends in Seattle, hit the subscribe button as we show you how to build a better way.